Hi, Dana. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are showcasing women entrepreneurs. And of course, you're one of our big icons here in the city of Long Beach. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your work?
Well, I own Primal Alchemy Catering and Events, and our pivot, which we'll get to later, is called Provisions Pantry. And we did for 21 years now, large and small events, corporate, social, you name it. We were founded on sustainable practices. So we're one of, I think, two catering companies in Southern California that are green certified by the state of California
Wow.
and the city of Long Beach. So um, this trend term, seasonal, local, sustainable, that whole thing, farm to table. I know it's all very trendy now, but we founded our company on that. So it's our basic, it's our ethos. It's ingrained in everything we do every day since day one. So and we do, weddings and anniversaries and big corporate events. We enjoyed doing the TED event when it was here for 5 years. We catered quite a few events for them. We're very food forward, very chef driven, and we're actually, my chef is obsessed about good food and buying locally and handcrafting everything in house. So that's a little bit about what we do, what we did for quite a while.
You said 21 years in the business?
21 years this year.
Wow. So lots of ups and downs. Has it been steady?
Well, yeah, we made it through the 2008 ish, when what happened in 2008 when everything hit the fan back then. We've been able to weather it through a lot of the ups and downs. But yeah, catering is not for the faint of heart. It is people often say, "Oh, it's so glamorous, you do events and parties." We throw parties for a living. I like to say we make memories and mark milestones. It's a lot of logistics. And I think that's what sets us apart also. We really, really excel at, anybody can make good food, like at a restaurant. It's pretty easy to do. But what we do is we bring that quality, that level of food to you on a mountaintop or on the beach or on a dock or in a warehouse or in a barn or in a corporate, the top floor of a parking structure for a big corporate event. So making that happen is kind of insane. You really got to be nuts to try to tackle it, number one, but number two, to be able to do it well and have the food turn out like it's really, fresh and good and hot when it needs to be hot and cold when it needs to be cold, and with a staff that cares about what they're doing also.
Why did you decide to go into the food industry?
Yeah, this might be a surprise, but I have my degree in interior design and architecture. That was my industry. That's what I did. I traveled all over the country designing showrooms, doing textile design, product design, showroom design. And then I went into sales and learned that aspect of it. And then I started my own firm, which was an office furniture and interior design firm that I ran for 10 years and then had a child, and, life happens, and I sold out to my business partner until my husband, who worked for Patina Catering up in LA. And so he was, doing the Emmys and the Oscars and, all kinds of stars' homes and things and doing some crazy high-end catering. And he said, why don't I try to go out on my own? And I said, okay. And so he did. And after a couple of years on his own, he said, come on, you got to come join me. You got to come help. Catering is very project-based. You get a project, which is an event, and you work up to the day, planning, executing until the day of the event. You execute it, and then you're done, until the next one. And that's kind of what the interior design architecture business is. You have a project, you plan, create, buy the goods and everything, and you install it, or you build it, or you finish it, and then you're done. But also, I was a foodie before the word foodie was really a popular thing. Between those two combinations of things, it was kind of a no-brainer for me to dive in and join him, and here we are 21 years later.
So as you know, Women's Month, and I feel like this is actually Women's Year, and it will continue to be probably Women's Decade. How can we empower each other? What's some of those golden nuggets that you have life lessons that you've learned through this business?
Well, I think that a couple of things. I'm going to start with one, which was our pivot, which is a big lesson for women and anybody really, but for women also. Um, when we found out 1 year ago, a week ago, 1 year ago, March 13th of 2020, that we basically lost 100% of our business for the rest of the year.
Oh my
Like
goodness.
it just disappeared overnight because events were canceled. All events were canceled. Now what? Right?
Yeah.
So instead of getting stuck in that poor me, I think just taking action. Just okay, what can I do? Not look what's happened to me, but what can I do? And I said we're just gonna do something different. We developed a division called Provisions Pantry that we started doing home family delivery and pickup, curbside pickup at our kitchen down by the Belmont Pier. And in doing that, we had to move very fast. I pulled my team together and I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is how fast we're going to do it. And, the whole thing, and just outlined it in a couple of days. We had our website up, our online ordering website up in 5 days from that day, from Friday. But I pulled my team together and I said, our motto right now until further notice is done is better than perfect. Because if we waited for it to be perfect, it would have never happened. Because we were just winging it. I mean, by the seat of our pants, we're just like, okay, I don't know how to do an online ordering platform. We're just going to figure it out, and everything with the packaging, with the delivering, everything about that whole division had to just happen quickly. And we're just, I don't know how to do that. We'll figure it out, So I think just being able to, and here we are a year later, still doing it. Who knew, right? Yeah. But I'll tell you what, we are keeping that division. I think that the lesson there is don't get caught up in what it's going to look like when you're done necessarily. That might keep you from starting. Just sometimes you just have to dive in. Sometimes you need a really thorough plan. I'm not saying you don't, but sometimes you just have to just get off your ass and just move, and just make it happen.
I hear you. And I wonder so once the pandemic hits and that your business is basically gone until further notice, do you go into a state of chaos? Do you go into, or do you
totally
take a deep breath, or
yeah, it's not that you just don't have a job anymore, but you have employees that you have to be responsible for. You still have to pay the rent. You still have to pay electricity. You still have to pay all the utilities. You still have to pay payroll. You still have, if it was just me and my job, then I would be able to figure that out differently. But I was responsible for all this overhead and all this, financial responsibility. So yeah, I mean, chaos is a lightweight word for that. What a lot of creativity starts with chaos, comes from chaos. So to be comfortable with chaos and be able to pull something that you can develop and monetize out of that is probably something that I would recommend doing if you have to. I mean, if you're forced into it, you got to do it. But yeah, chaos is a very good word for it. And I think that also being able to pull a team together and make sure your team understands that you're there for them and you're going to do the best you can and you're going to survive. I mean, and just rally the troops and just keep going. That's hugely important because if I came in there with a defeatist attitude, my team wouldn't have been behind what we pivoted to and what we ended up succeeding at. So.
What would you say to somebody that, with the experience that you have, what would you say to somebody who's planning to start a business now, and especially in the food industry? What would you say are 3 things that they must take into consideration?
Well, I think that because it's Women's Month, I'd like to maybe focus a little bit on that, on women starting businesses. I think that there's competition, obviously, amongst businesses.
Right.
Well, no matter who owns them. But I think that women uplifting other women and and creating mentorship situations and things like that are so much more helpful than being, and I hate this word, but it's catty, you know, that whole thing that women do to each other, that it just, I can't stand it. You know, it's like there's enough for everybody. And if you're good at what you do and you have sincere integrity and honesty and creativity, and you're able to put your idea, your vision forward and get a team behind you that's willing to back you up and make it happen, there's no need to tear down other women. It just really isn't. So I think that for and being, you know, I'm not 20, let's put it that way, and having seen what happens in any industry, but also women-owned businesses mostly, in, you just don't have to do that. You don't have to go there, you know. There's enough. I offer to mentor women constantly. You know, we've had Colossus Breads started in our kitchen, and now she's opening her bakery on 2nd Street. We had another bakery called Little Tart Bakery started in our kitchen. So they leased from us, subleased from us, and we're able to start their businesses in our kitchen too, because, you know, kitchen overhead is a lot. But I don't know. I just think that women can help other women, and everybody wins. You know, rising tides move all ships. You know, whatever that saying is. But I don't think that there's a need to put other women down just because they're your competition, or I don't know. There's just no need for it. I think we can all help each other and grow together. As women move into leadership positions in business and in politics and in corporations, I think that there's a shift to, as long as we remember to uplift other women, I think there's a shift to a different kind of leadership and entrepreneurship. And I think that it's gonna be highly creative and possibly kinder. You know, I mean, I was awarded the entrepreneur, women entrepreneur of the year or whatever from the Press Telegram one year, when they did the Most Amazing Women Awards, and as well as for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the businesswoman. And one of the things I said in my talk is that just because you're a corporation, you know, just because you're a business doesn't mean you can't be a kind part of your community. It doesn't mean that you can't, that money is the only thing that you can't give back, that you can't be somebody who is involved in your community and not just monetarily. That's easy. Anybody can write a check. That's, I mean, not that I don't appreciate people writing checks. That has to, you know, that's necessary. You know, people, you have to support nonprofits financially, right? But really, not just writing a check to get something out of it, to like get the accolades because you wrote the check, which I find appalling. But to really be involved, like really participate and support and share and connect and be a catalyst for change in our community. And I think that women can really lead that idea of doing that so much that, you know, it's just, it has to become part of what you do as a company, part of the leadership.
So for women that are out there thinking of maybe starting a business, Dana is always available. She will be your mentor. I am sure that Sandy with Original Hispanic Chamber of Commerce will also point you in the right direction. If not, she will mentor you directly. Yep. So for all women out there, make sure to reach out and find those mentors. And well, let me ask you, what's your favorite quote?
Oh, my favorite quote? My favorite quote is, "Don't push the river."
Don't push the river.
Don't push the river.
Huh. Okay. And
so, yeah.
Go ahead. Tell me.
Oh, I was just going to say it's, you know, the river flows just fine all by itself. It doesn't need your help. Sometimes it's best to just let things go.
Yeah. I love that. I don't think I've heard it. That's Pretty
Yeah,
fantastic. I'm
don't
gonna
push the
write it
river.
down. Don't push the river. I love it. And where from here? Where are you going next?
Where from here? Well, I think it's going to be exciting to build Primal Alchemy back up with events. You know, the last pandemic we had was just before the Roaring Twenties. It's actually exactly the same. It's 1 century ago, so it's exactly the same timing. So I have a feeling 2022 and 2023. Not that we'll be in flapper dresses and doing, that, but I think we're going to be out there celebrating a little bit. So I'm really looking forward to capturing some of that, some of those events for people and making it happen for them. So looking
Well,
forward to
we
that a lot,
cannot wait.
and still giving back to the community and being involved. I'm very involved in the community, so that's not going to go away. That'll never go away.
You're very committed. You're committed. You're passionate. You love
Yes, I'm
what you do,
committed.
and we couldn't ask for anything else from you. So, how can people contact you?
Well, they can go to my email, which is dana@primalalchemy.com, or call my office, which is 562-400-5994.
Awesome. Dana, thank you so much for sharing time with us and sharing your stories and your tips and your vision for your business and your history and everything that you've been able to share with us today. We so appreciate it.
Oh, and I appreciate you having me and letting me share my story. Thank you so much.
We'll be seeing you around in Long Beach.
Yes, you will. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.